the time has finally come that the first grand opening of Universal's newest project in Orlando. Stella Nova Resort is the first major opening of the Epic Universe project in Orlando that Universal has been working on. New road signs have been installed around the entrance to this resort, along with a number of new details inside of Orlando's newest theme park. This includes the Mushroom Courtyard completed in front of Peach's Castle in Super Nintendo World, the Luna statue uncovered at the front of Celestial Park, and several toothless spottings all around How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Burk. All of this and more on this week's Universal Epic Universe Construction Update, with our aerial views provided to us as always by BioReconstruct. Starting off outside of the main theme park, the first of the 3 new hotels inside of the Epic Universe property has now opened. Stella Nova can be seen taking final delivery of food and drinks. Near the entry to the hotel and the bus shelters, we can see a Coca-Cola truck parked making drink deliveries. The parking lot at Stella Nova is filled with cars, which are likely employees who are in final training to get the resort open for guests. At the entrance to Stella Nova along Epic Boulevard, several new traffic signs have been installed that are the same design as the current circular road signs at the main Universal properties a couple miles north. Inside of the parking lot for Epic Universe, at the toll plaza, waterproofing has been installed on the roof of the plaza. Underneath of the overhang, the toll booths can now be seen between the steel beams. Separating the 2 massive parking lots is the guest walkway that will lead to the entrance to Epic Universe. On the edge of the walkway, new palm trees and barriers have been installed. Around the entrance area of Epic Universe, the themed columns around the security plaza and ticketing windows have been just about completed. On top of these columns, glass globes have been installed which look similar to the globes on top of the light posts inside of Celestial Park. Underneath the security plaza roofing, we have our first looks of the admissions podiums. Once passing through the admission podiums, guests will pass through the Kronos Tower, which has had a waterproofing layer around the portal installed. On top of the entrance support buildings, the small rotundas on the roof are beginning to be themed as the glass domes below are completed. Just inside of Celestial Park, scaffolding has been removed from the Luna statue. Small details around this area continue to be completed. At Luna Overlook above, what looks like lighting holes have been drilled into some of the detail of the colorful courtyard. Nearby, at the Phase 2 dining location, scaffolding has begun to be removed from the exterior walls of this building. As the scaffolding is removed, we are able to see a fair amount of detail. At the base of the building closest to Luna Overlook, we can see a new concrete pour beginning to be prepared. At the main entrance of this building, new bushes and trees have been planted. On the opposite side of the cascading waterfalls from the Phase 2 dining locations sits the full-service restaurant of Atlantic. On the corners of Atlantic, the shelves that were staged nearby last update have been installed on top of the striped columns. Below, the restaurant on the back side of the underground kitchen, there is a black wall which is waterproofing for the foundation, which dirt will soon be piled up and shaped. Dead center in Celestial Park, on the edge of the central water feature, is Constellation Carousel. Underneath of the main dome, the characters, which are the ride vehicles, are uncovered once again. The second smaller dome, which acts as the ride's queue cover, has seen its colorful roof tiles installed. Several smaller sections still need to be installed to connect the smaller dome to the main dome. On the opposite side of the water feature, new landscaping has begun to be planted in replacement of the foam berm that once stood several updates ago. Near the entrance to Constellation Carousel sits the large building which houses the Super Nintendo store and Pizza Moon. Around the entrance and exit of the Super Nintendo store, new stone sculptures have been installed on either sides of the door. Above the entrance of the store, new glass panels have been installed, which have several characters painted on. Next door at Pizza Moon, a new detail that has been noticed is the tongue actually moves side to side on the face of the moon. Below the courtyard, more themed elements have been staged for Pizza Moon which have yet to be installed around the building. On the other side of the central water feature at Stardust Racers, where below the main comet theming, new silver spheres have been placed on concrete pads all around this area. Behind the coaster building at the outdoor queue, the edges of the queue canopies are beginning to be installed. Underneath these canopies, the queue railings look to be completely installed. High above the dining location of Meteor Astropub, the signage has been installed which was staged near the show fountain last update. Behind this location, the circular theming on the structure continues to be worked on. On the rotunda on the front side of the building, star theming can be seen on the windows. The kiosk that is closest to Meteor Astropub, we can see what looks like a bar being themed underneath the roof. Near the main show fountain, opposite Meteor Astropub, a new concrete and steel structure has been erected. This structure will actually become a stage where the square building on the other side of the courtyard will become the stage control building. In the back of Celestial Park, above the main show fountain is the statue of Helios, which continues to be surrounded in scaffolding. It is believed that at sunset there will be a passing of the lighting around Celestial Park between Helios and Luna. On the other side of Celestial Park, the two pillars on either side of the statues are identical in both locations, which gives this theory more of a leg to stand on. In the shadows of the Helios Grand Hotel sits the new wizarding world of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic. Weathering theming on the Phoenix Arch has been completed, which confirms my suspicion from last update about the boom lifts working on the weathering. In two locations there have been Paris-style advertising columns installed, one behind the entry portal to the land, and the other near the 5th Street intersection. Throughout the streets of the land, new street-level awnings have begun to be installed near the theater show entrance. Behind the tent which acts as the entrance to the theater show, several lines of queue posts have been installed in the concrete. At the Battle of the Ministry ride, the ride information sign has been installed just to the side of the Metro Flue. In the corner between the entrance to the Metro Flue and the statue, new themed gate has been installed. One street in the land that is not accessible to guests is the Forced Perspective View Street that leads to the turrets high above the land. This turret also has lighting on nearby rooftops to be lit up during night, similar to the Hogwarts Castle in Islands of Adventure. Inside of this Forced Perspective View Street, new landscaping has been planted on different levels of the street along with different themed elements. Directly across Celestial Park sits the darkest land in all of Epic Universe, Dark Universe. On the backside of the entry portal above the graveyard that guests will walk through before entering Darkmoor, the wood detail above the entry portal has been completed and stained. Inside the village, detail work continues on every building. In the back of the village, the restroom sign has been installed above the restrooms. Inside of the Dark Forest, at Curse of the Werewolf, new ride fencing mounted on the coaster tracks has begun to be installed. The U-shaped fencing can be seen in at least 3 different areas along the coaster tracks. Around the edge of the coaster grounds, horizontal framing has begun to be installed on the vertical beams for additional protective fencing. Across the manor courtyard, the ride sign for Monsters Unchained has been installed in front of the manor gatehouse. On the manor bridge, queue posts have now been installed. At the neighboring land of Super Nintendo World, there are a number of colorful changes to go over. Above the entry portal to the land, new power stars can be seen being installed above the warp pipe theming. Down below, we can see one of the sliding doors at this portal entrance. In front of Peach's Castle, the Mushroom Courtyard has been completed, which matches what we have seen in the model in the Epic Universe Preview Center. At the top of the stairs, across from the courtyard, landscaping has been planted along with railings that have been installed on the stairs that lead to the lower level of the land. All around the upper level of the land, the pathways have been painted green and yellow. Above the upper level, the tops of the walls of the land have been painted with stripes. The large piranha plant theming looks to be completed with the spiked vines and clocks. Throughout all of the walls of the land, more small theming has been installed. On the lower level of the land, the warp pipe in front of the 1-Up factory store has been placed. There are 2 locations for these warp pipes. Behind the Mushroom Kingdom sits the mini-land of Donkey Kong Country, where a lot of small details continue to be added all around. The theming around the warp pipe leading to the entrance of Donkey Kong Country has been completed. Behind Funky's Flying By gift shop, trees have started to be painted on the large green dividing wall. The large white posts throughout this mini-land appear to be the light posts for the land. At the front of Donkey Kong's treehouse, a large pile of bananas have been placed, which will separate the characters from guests. Around the pathways to this character meet and greet, bamboo-themed railings have been installed. In front of the entrance to Minecart Madness, there has been a lot going on. There is now queue signs for each line, ride information signs, attraction signs, and several other themed elements all around. Universal team members can also be seen getting a chance to ride this new coaster. At the splash section of the coaster, there is a fog effect that the coaster cars will jump through. Transporting from Super Nintendo World across Celestial Park to the Land of Dragons of How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Burk. There are a lot of new dragon sightings in every corner of the land. Before we get into the land, off to the side of the entry portal, the exit to the land is getting concrete poured and finished during this flight. Similar to the entry portal of Super Nintendo World, a sliding door can be seen inside of the How to Train Your Dragon portal. Inside of the land at Viking Training Camp, scaffolding has been installed on the higher level of the playground to complete the theming. Below, on the lower level of the playground, a toothless play element has been installed as if the villagers have created it with various pieces found around Burk. To the side of Viking Training Camp is Dragon Racers Rally. Netting has been installed around the ride arms on the long time placed posts. The tent continues to be installed above the ride queue closest to the grandstand of Hiccup's Wing Gliders. New banners have been installed on the top level of the grandstands. Back above the queue of Dragon Racers Rally, temporary netting has been placed between the 2 rides. Outside of the ride, new sheep have been placed and are staged to be installed. Inside of the village, in the center of the land, graphics are being inlaid inside of the village fountain. On the entrance to Mead Hall, the large main doors have been themed more since last update. Above the retail building, new dragons have been installed inside of the dragon houses. One of the dragon tails is actually mechanical and will move once Epic Universe opens. This tail still needs to be themed with its skin before the park opens. In the back of the land, near the Untrainable Dragon Theater Show, another mechanical dragon tail is being installed inside of one of the dragon houses. Across from Haddock Paddock, a new structure is being themed, which is likely some sort of support building. Near the entrance of Haddock Paddock, a new rock sculpture of Hiccup and Toothless's first encounter in the first movie can be seen. Next to Spitfire Grill, where a new rock formation was installed last update, we now know that this is where the Ice Dragon will be placed in this location, since we can see the pathways to the bathrooms off to the side. Across the pathway, at the seating area for this dining location, scaffolding has been erected around the entire area to complete the theming before the tent canopy is installed. Opposite the seating area for Spitfire Grill, the load station roof for Fire Drill has finally been completed. We are now one update closer to the grand opening of Epic Universe, and we are only 2 or 3 updates away from the grand opening of the next hotel, Terra Luna Resort. A lot continues to go on all around the Epic Universe property as we get closer and closer to May. If you enjoyed this update, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next Universal Epic Universe construction update. And until next time, travelers, have a great one.